All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 252 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill, admin on the FAQ. Today I'm joined by Daniel Wees.
Hello.
69th Blizzard Ken.
Hey, hey.
And little Andrew. A live cat man, making friends on the FAQ.
All
it's his business.
Making friends everywhere. Everywhere, my friend.
Andrew, good to see you again. Always nice to have you on the show while you're off doing all these other shows. You've been on Podcast Rock City, the Kiss Room, the Ages of Rock podcast.
Podcast, literally every podcast I've been on, and I've only been on there not because I like to hear the sound of my own voice. I am promoting my new Kiss fan film, Kiss at Midnight, which will be streaming on YouTube and Vimeo June 28th. So some of you guys saw the live stream which I did on Facebook last week. Response was incredible, so thank you to everyone that watched it, and thank you to everyone that shared it.
I was watching it. There were only 3 of us.
You're a liar.
We're all your friends.
No, that's not. No, there were many more than 3 people there.
We actually all clicked play and went and had a Skype chat elsewhere. You do know that, right?
Yeah. Okay. I still got the chat, but still, but you know, I'm really excited to release that. So I'm making the rounds, making this face seen because. You know, luckily I'm stuck in a dark edit room and I don't use my face to actually, use images to promote this because then no one will want to see it.
Yeah, no, that was cool. And, we're not going to dedicate a whole show to you because you've been a whore already and been everywhere else.
Nor do I want to.
So you just get to participate as you would anyway on our show when you're available.
Glad to be here.
Cool. But I do want to talk a little bit about Kiss at Midnight because it was fun. And what I enjoyed watching the stream was other people's responses to that who were typing in live and hitting their little emotion things during the show. And there was a lot of really positive feedback. And this isn't to stroke you in any way. That a lot of these people did watch The Greatest Show on Earth, which obviously was your previous effort. Some people, very few people, have been lucky to see some of another video that you did work on. That's, of course, the Fort Wayne multicam. Some people got to see a bit of that at Indian and loved that. So, I mean, you're obviously making a nice little niche for yourself with these fan movies, especially with this. It's all essentially officially sourced video, isn't that correct?
Yeah. Listen. I don't take any of this lightly. If somebody enjoys it, I absolutely appreciate it, and I really take it to heart. For someone to take time out of their day and watch what I've done means the world to me. So I guess the modus operandi behind Kiss at Midnight was to take officially released material and just create a new experience, and that's what I've done. And the people that have seen it seem to enjoy it. So, you know what? For me to share this passion I have with Kiss with someone else is awesome. So if they love this project as much as I love Kiss, I've done my job. I really have. So, many thanks to you 3 guys here. Because you guys have talked about Greatest Show on Earth and other things before, so many hats off to you guys, and many hats off to anybody out there that's watching it or is going to tune in on June 28th. So I'm so grateful. I really am.
Well, while we're doing commercials for Kiss-related projects, why don't we just throw in a quick ad for this year's Nashville Rock and Pod Expo? Get your tickets for that event. A lot of cool rock personalities are going to be there. There'll be a lot of podcasters recording, so listen to this ad. It'll give you all the correct details so I don't screw it up again.
Rockin' Pod is back. The annual celebration of rock returns to Nashville. This convention brings together the best rock stars, music podcasters, vinyl and memorabilia vendors, and rock fans from all corners of the globe. Special guests include Michael Sweet of Stryper, Brian Forsyth of Kix, Jason Beeler of Saigon Kick, Eerie Vaughn of Danzig, and members of Exodus, Roxy Blue, Every Mother's Nightmare, Kick Tracy, and more. Music podcasts from all over North America will be recording on-site all weekend. Special pre-party featuring the rock and roll residency, The Talisman, 8 Ball, and Lipstick Generation on Friday night. Rockin' Pod Expo on Saturday. Join us at the Nashville Airport Marriott August 9th and 10th for Rockin' Pod. Podcast registration and tickets and VIP packages available now at rockinpod.com.
All right, we're back. All right, so let's get into this week's topics. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Daniel, this was kind of your idea to dig into the board, I think, and, just see what people are talking about. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind as a KISS fan that you think is worthy of discussion?
I think someone suggested changing the covers of previous KISS albums. What would you do? What would you like to add or so? I think that was quite interesting to see. I don't know. I think it was it you, Julian, who suggested that, or someone? I think that's a good topic.
Yeah, jump in
because boy, there are a lot of bad-looking record covers when it comes to KISS. Oh my! Maybe that's something that would be kind of interesting. Well, there is some cool fan art out there that we've seen. The Creatures with Vinnie Vincent on the cover, and you have Lick It Up with a band in full makeup. They all look cool, but what I really feel is that when they had the chance to make it big once again with Psycho Circus, for example, they completely dropped the ball, in my opinion. If you look at that cover, it's like a big clown in the middle and 4 small faces on the sides. Yeah, big clown in the middle, yeah. And to me, KISS album covers should focus on the band. Almost every cover, when they have something else in the center of attention, they fail miserably. Like The Elder, I don't like. What else? Actually, Revenge is kind of cool looking, but Hot in the Shade, Animalize is so. And of course, Hot in the Shade is awful. But Psycho Circus, I get the idea. They tried to tie it. They had the tour that was going to be in 3D, and I guess they thought that a 3D cover would be cool because we're going to have this really cool 3D tour, which we know didn't work that well either. And this was really a chance for them to cash in. So I think they should have had a look at the classic album covers like, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun, Destroyer. And just by using a cover in that vein, I'm sure they would have sold a whole bunch of more records. Because you could almost not see from which band that record was. It was kind of, the 3D thing didn't look that good. So that's one of them. And I have plenty of more I could talk about, but let's hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, so hi, Ken. Good to see you. And 10 minutes in, let's get your opinion on this.
Well, yeah, we know there's a lot of bad covers out there, or not so good. I think they just missed some opportunities, especially with using, for instance, the Unmasked title on the Unmasked album, where that could have they could have saved that title and used it on the Lick It Up album. While the Lick It Up cover is not so bad, it's, it is a photo of the band. But, maybe they could have, had a picture in their hand or something showing what their makeup was before, something like that. I don't know. And they could have called that, instead of Lick It Up, of course, call it Unmasked. And if I was going to do Unmasked over, I probably would, instead of putting that the cartoon or the comic book type thing on the front, which some people like. I mean, it's okay. It grew on me. At first, I didn't like it. But I would have had the storyboard on the inside and keep that what was it? I Still Think They Stink, or whatever it is, on the inside of the album. instead have then the poster picture on the outside, kind of a wraparound gatefold kind of thing, something different like that. I mean, I think I still think they stink, or they still stink, or whatever that says. That was a big mess up. I mean, I was just reading that book. The book. I can't remember the author's name right now. Kiss My Black Ass. That book. Yeah. He's the Black Kiss fan, and he wrote a book. And
But I think there's more than one.
One of the yeah, okay. But
the Kiss Army is a very broad demographic. Okay,
no, are you kidding me? It's a broad you're out of your mind.
He wrote a book. But anyway, he tells a story about bringing the Unmasked album into school to show it off to his friends and kids and so on. And they were all making fun of him because of the still stink part of the album cover. They were just making fun of him. He's like, man, and I think it was a big mess up by Kiss to allow that even to go through like that. That's just one of many things that they've messed up on covers, though.
Yeah, so that was one of the topics that jumped out at me, because we've talked about it on so many of these album reviews that we've done over the years of, some of the little changes that we'd like to make. And that Unmasked episode, that was ages ago. We actually talked a lot about the cover and sort of the packaging that we had changed around for that. But I think that the two that immediately jump out at me are The Elder and Revenge, which are basically both boring as hell covers that really needed the band image on them, especially The Elder back then, just a brown wooden urban camouflage that lost the record in the racks, which, I mean, Kiss was already then needed something. And from those photo shoots that were really cool. I mean, look at the insert that was used in Australia, the poster that was used in Norway, the images that were kind of shot around that time, while some of them, I guess, are from 82 or, certainly would have been better for the band to grab. Again, here's our new look, something that you still knew it was Kiss, something that drew attention, because the covers, like Daniel said, that are the ones that we always think about, are band photos that are very kind of iconic. The first album, even, the renders that were done for Destroyer, they've got the images of the band members on it. Dynasty, even though that's an album that a lot of people, see as transition to softer music, was a very visual and appealing cover. I mean, it's all subjective, but it grabs your attention because it harkens back to kind of like Beatles, and it just grabs your attention. The Elder needed something more than just a brown paper bag. I mean, it's not like it was Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin can get away with a brown paper bag. Kiss, not so much, especially in 1981. The same goes for Revenge, that a very gray, boring cover, and I always found it atrocious. I mean, yeah, it's like cool. It's the side of an airplane or a battleship or something tough, but it's so focused in, it's like magnified. You don't really get the sense of aggression out of it. It's, again, camouflaged. And with Gene finally looking cool in 1992, get that guy on the cover of the album, because people are going to do a double take of, number one, holy shit, Kiss is still around. Number two, Gene looks cool, finally. So, those are the ones that kind of grab my attention initially. Andrew?
Well, Ken actually had mentioned both of the albums that I did want to talk about. I want to talk about Lick It Up first, because I think that this is a huge missed opportunity if people still cared about the band at this time, because people didn't care about the band at the time. But if they did care about the band at the time, I would have put a makeup shot on the cover, and then I would have put a nice giant hype sticker that says, included in this record, a gatefold picture of Kiss without their makeup, finally. And then you open up the gatefold, and that's the Lick It Up cover. Should have been the gatefold, because I think that would have been a great marketing scheme to get them to buy the album, because there was no internet back then, so no one knew what they looked like. So you have to buy the record and open it up out of the cellophane to see what they look like without makeup. I think that could have gotten a little bump in sales, my opinion, but nobody cared about the band at the time.
What about the peel off? You know the Beatles, the famous butcher peeled and unpeeled cover.
Yeah,
put something on top that you had to peel off in order to reveal their faces.
Well,
I just wanted something you had to purchase the record to see the band. Like I didn't want you to see the band and then purchase the record. I wanted you to have the record, have to take it home and open it, and then you see the band. You know,
they could have had it.
You're saying?
But go ahead.
This is a neutered band at the time. Nobody cared about Vinnie Vincent and Eric Carr makeup. No slight against either one of them, especially Eric Carr. He was the heart and soul of this band at this time, but nobody cared about the band at this time. If this was, Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter, 1978, 1979, that alone would have made the album shift platinum, my opinion. But no one cared about the band at this time. That's why when they unmasked on MTV in '83, it was late night. Nobody cared. So you had this great thing that you could have done. It was a huge missed opportunity because who cares about the Fox and the Wizard and Giraffe Boy and Goat Boy? Nobody cares about that stuff. They wanted these original 4 characters unmasked for the first time, which is also why Peter Criss put his face on a record at some point. But the other record that I wanted to talk about is Dynasty. I think them using just their faces on there was a missed opportunity because what does that album cover say about the album? It doesn't say anything about the album. I think it would have been much cooler to use something very similar to the Return of Kiss tour book or something similar to the Return of Kiss TV commercial with them in the smoke and the city in the background because what does the word dynasty mean? So Kiss had conquered New York City. They were a phenomenon at the time. So seeing them, looking like superheroes walking away from New York City would have been something very cool. That I think that in itself, would have separated the album from the disco reviews that it had gotten ultimately. Because let's be real, there's really only 2 bona fide disco songs on that record. I Was Made for Loving You and Dirty Living. It's not really a disco record, but I think because you had nothing to compare the album to, you just had these faces and then hearing all the drone from I Was Made for Loving You, people just thought it was a disco record. But if you had these guys looking like the cartoon superheroes that they wanted to come across as, that would have been kind of cool. The other thing, I would have used the straitjacket image on the front cover too. I know there are documents that Julian has so graciously posted over at the FAQ. There are documents that they had certain meetings where they didn't want to use the straitjackets because Ted Nugent had just used that, and they were afraid they were going to be compared with Ted Nugent. But that image is good, and I know the image is good because, Ken, you want that same image. I know Gene is different, but you wanted that same image to be used on Unmasked. So that insert poster in Dynasty is that frame that Victor Staben used from Unmasked. So, those are the 2 records that stand out for me. I don't disagree with The Elder or Revenge. I mean, things could definitely be done with both of those, but I think Dynasty and Lick It Up are the ones that need the most help, my opinion.
Just quickly, I have to say Psycho Circus, of course, could have been a much better looking album. And they used Barry Levine for a photo shoot for the reunion era. It boggles the mind why they didn't use those photos, because that was like great themes for each and every band member. I would have used them on the back of the album, or maybe.
What if they used? You open up the tour book. What if they used that tour book photo, the inside cover where it says "Now Appearing"? I thought that might have been cool. Like have them in like a circus cage almost. But again, we talked about this many times before, or I've talked about this many times before. The Psycho Circus tour was a huge missed opportunity, and unfortunately, Motley Crue did it so much better in 2005.
Yeah, that was a great tour.
Carnival of Sin.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Kiss had done something like that in 1998?
Oh yeah. Awesome. Where Andrew was pointing out the cover of Dynasty, it goes back really to Kiss's first album, where you're not really seeing what you're going to get. All you get is the 4 phases. Sure, they were trying to do a Meet the Beatles kind of thing, but they really had a missed opportunity there to show them in full regalia, their costumes, and people go, oh wow,
I agree with you there. I agree with you there, but I think they were playing it safe a little bit on that first record. I really think that Dynasty needed something because there was a lot of flack, Roberta. There's a lot of, flack. There was a lot of
killing me softly.
There was a lot of flack around that Dynasty record because they were becoming a disco band. I don't have the date in front of me when the single "I Was Made for Loving You" was released, but I know it predated the record. So you had this single, and then you got the record, and you're like, "What am I getting on this record?"
Actually, April 26th.
April 26th, one day before Ace Frehley's birthday. So you had this, you had the noise from the single, and then you had this record that wasn't really saying anything. I mean, we knew it was Kiss because Kiss was on the cover and in their makeup, so you saw this makeup. But I think if it had said something, it could have battled that this is a disco record.
Yeah, I think one more interesting record is Sonic Boom, because then they chose the color scheme from Rock and Roll Over, and they understood the power of the classic albums, and still they failed miserably. What do you have to say about that record cover?
Well, it was too calculated, too contrived, because it wasn't organic. What was created in 1976 came naturally. I mean, that was an artist came up with that design, and it was inspiration. Now, being dictated to that we want these certain elements, again, I mean, look at the little round faces on the front of Sonic Boom,
so bad.
And compare them with the dreadful little round things on the back of Psycho Circus. I mean, that kind of speaks to the same sort of art direction coming from the same source on both of those. And I don't think it was necessarily a bad album cover as such. There are just things that could have made it better. There are also things that could have made it worse. I mean, think of Alive 2. That's a pretty bad album cover.
No, the worst thing in Kiss's history is the gatefold in the booklet of Sonic Boom, where it's clear that they're in the Alive 35, Destroyer costumes, and someone just painted over them to make them look like the Sonic Boom costumes. It's terrible. It's the worst. Go back and look at that picture. It is the worst. Like, I looked at that and I go, this is just terrible, because they had changed costumes at that point, and Julian's going to go and look it up right now because he doesn't remember, because who looked at the book in Sonic Boom? But it's terrible. They had changed costumes at the time. I remember when Sonic Boom was being recorded, none of us thought that they were going to change costumes, or even the stage for that matter. We thought that they were going to, pony around the Alive 35 stage. But I mean, I tell you, that is the worst picture, the worst officially released Kiss picture in a Kiss release ever. I saw that and I wanted my money back. Listen, I love Sonic Boom. I really do.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are a lot of little things with the album covers. I think, the first album, Peter's makeup, bothers me to this day just because. Oh, yeah. But at least it has a story attached to it.
Yeah.
So that makes it quirky and kind of different. But wouldn't it be nicer with, well, actually, the Red Room, one of those photos would be way better.
I agree.
Especially the one that was used as the first promo poster. I mean, that's a fantastic, it's probably been used on a bootleg, hasn't it?
Mine's right there.
Nice.
Right
Jealous. There. But one last thing on albums, and it was kind of a new delivery for me, and it's stuff that I bought recently. I said I quit collecting vinyl. Could not pass up the opportunity.
Mine's on its way.
Yeah, the German silver vinyl double platinum reissue. It uses the 1980s design with the photographs in the gatefold.
Look, you've pissed off Daniel. He's left.
I should never mention the Germans. But very, very cool, and it made it all the way here. It sat in customs for like 4 days, and it ended up arriving double boxed. So I was very thrilled with that. Good. And we mentioned it last week, and it was one of the things that quite a few people commented on both YouTube and elsewhere, was the suggestion that Australia should do a special reissue of the white
double platinum.
Double platinum.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you think, because I also got the best of solo albums. I got that one as well, which is freaking awesome. I love the splatter on that vinyl. But do you think that America is going to reissue double platinum?
I don't see why they shouldn't, as long as it's not in the same format that was included in Hysteria. But you know what? When they said it was limited to 1,000, it's Kiss. So you can never believe what they say. So I would hardly be surprised if they can make a few bucks off it during this album cycle, or sorry, this touring cycle.
Yeah.
Then anything's fair game. It's just I don't see the point unless you do something different with it. Again,
I think they should
there's
do
so
a silver.
many of those copies.
Yeah, I think they should do another silver vinyl, but just do it using the American, like use the sleeve from Kissteria, maybe like stamp it something else or whatever. But I that's the only record out of Kissteria that I purchased because I didn't buy the Kissteria box set, but I did purchase that record.
Well, don't forget also, for many years it was rumored that there was a British red vinyl version of that. So maybe if they did a red vinyl pressing in the US with the original silver label and use do a repro Mylar cover, just like out of the box set, the Kissteria box, that would be acceptable because then it's different enough to the one. And they're limiting these, I think, to 2,000 copies per. I have not bought the green vinyl.
Me neither. I skipped that.
Dynasty. I've skipped it,
Oh,
and I'm on the fence of why I skipped it because I just don't want to start collecting again. But just when I thought I was out,
they pull you back in. Well, here's a question that I kind of want to throw out to you guys because we're talking about reissuing these albums, and I really do think that this is the beginning of a long cycle of reissuing albums and trying to reissue them as close as they can to their release date or as some type of anniversary date. So there was a discussion about the 97 remasters and that the originals was supposed to be a 1997 remaster. And the reason why I say this is because if you look at the catalog numbers for the 1997 remasters, a missing number between Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over. So do you think that, and if this were to happen, first of all, do you think that they're going to reissue the originals? And if they were to reissue the originals, how would you want that presented?
I think they should keep it as close as the originals, the original issues as possible, of course. And they should release everything they can. And I do think they will, as long as they have the rights to them. And because there are still fans that buy the same stuff over and over again. So just keep on releasing.
Well, it's a lot easier now because Universal bought Epic rights.
Yeah.
So in terms of merchandising, Kiss is kind of all under the same umbrella in terms of their property. So the record label and the merchandising arm are all together. So I think that opens up a lot of doors. Now, in terms of the originals, I want a hybrid. I want all those original ones left as the originals. So the Japanese version with its bigger leaves on the inside, keep that how it was. The difference between the first and second American printings, shiny versus matte paper
Canadian.
on the inner sleeves. And then you've got the Canadian, which actually was a true gatefold. So I would like something that combines elements of all of these, which means having the full gatefold. Number one, it's cheaper and easier to make and keep the records in it. Then I want glossy inner dust sleeves, and then I want a Japanese book, so to take something from each one of them so that it's its own unique product that is a homage to the original without kind of stepping on it.
Oh, I forgot what a nerd you are.
Sorry.
I too. If they reissue,
I bought this the other day. I think this was a great thing.
Well, that's the great magazine.
This is probably the last time you can buy a all Kiss magazine in the local store. So
wait, that's all Kiss?
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't know that. That's why.
Now,
it's really good.
Now I'm gonna have to get it. Damn it!
I still need to get that.
Damn it.
I have that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a cool feeling to see a Kiss special among the magazines.
That's cool.
because it's probably the last time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, are you kidding? The last time.
It's not going to be the last time. But,
There's still trees to make paper from, aren't there?
God, yeah.
Yeah, but not released from an official, like a big magazine, like I don't know who is this, Classic Rock, I think. Yeah.
Classic Rock did it, yeah.
Kiss will always try to release stuff, but not like this, I don't think.
Where's that Ace Frehley magazine? Did that ever come out?
No,
it never. It's delayed. Or...
Listen, it'll be magic if that Ace Frehley book or any other books come out.
Yeah, magic. I get it. Hey, Original. So, do I think they're going to release that in the U.S.? No. No. If I see anyone doing it, I do see the Japanese doing it, originals 1 and 2, and making it a box set kind of thing, and maybe color the vinyl. They could color them. Maybe it's not necessary, but reproduce all of that and throw some extra stuff in, like you said, Julian, a book. Maybe that covers those 6 albums, with some cool details and pictures and stuff.
It's
all the air, so.
I believe this is from the originals, and I gotta read this. I think this is from the originals 2. I'm not sure what originals this is. It's got to be from the originals 1. It's got to be from the Japanese originals 1, because they had the lyric book.
Originals. Like
they had the lyric book in the Japanese originals, right? You guys are aware of this?
Originals.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm pretty sure this is where this came from. So I would like to read you the Deuce lyrics from the originals 1 Japanese edition.
Oh no. Okay.
All right, you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Let's get off and get your growlin' out of here. This old Urich is working hard this year. Baby, do the things you're supposed to do. Baby, if you're feeling good, baby, if you're feeling nice, you know your man's working hard's worth a deuce. It gets better.
Okay,
honey, don't wash your mind behind his ears. And baby, stop crying all your tears.
No, I've said it before.
Yeah.
Someone has got to record a tribute album using the Japanese. It's not to mock, because come on, it's a second language, and I've done translations of French articles, and come on, I've butchered some of the French language in those efforts, and I've even used not just my dictionary, but Google Translate.
You're gonna say I didn't even use just my dick, but I used my brain too.
It's entertaining, but so are those Japanese album titles, the subtitles. The whole picture of hell, which I think was one of the originals subtitles.
Well, while we're talking about pictures of hell, I think if they would re-release the originals, hopefully in the U.S. and Japan, I would love to see them all 3 records red vinyl. And I would include all the same things that Julian included, because it would differentiate it enough from the originals release.
Yeah, and come on, the last record I think issued in Japan was the absolutely incredible Destroyer cutting, which is absolutely stunning. That's one I still regret selling. So, all right, let's move on to some other topics, because it's too easy for this to turn into kiss my wax and just talk about vinyl.
Kiss your what?
Yeah. All right, so some other topics from the board. I mean, it's too easy to go through and pick on these. I've seen a few today, and Paul almost flips his wig in Moscow. Yikes! Oh no, that's the Ukraine show. Yikes! Because there was a partially empty high roller area towards the front of the stage. So, let's talk about the Ukraine. And that
you kind of like how people are trying to spin it in a way that, oh my God, Kiss is not selling tickets. Bring back Ace and Peter. But
no, you just remember, Kiss is doomed, right?
Yes, Kiss is doomed. Yeah. Forget the haters. Forget the haters.
Now we're supposed to say, fuck the haters, we won. Yeah.
Well, but what people don't realize is that once the image pulls out, I mean, there's that front little grand section that is relatively empty. But the rest of the arena is pretty much full, because what you have now is you have these promoters, and this is the promoters' fault. This isn't Kiss's fault. You have these promoters that are putting up these tickets for these premium prices, and people don't want to pay premium prices for tickets any longer or any more than they have to.
Not when your monthly income in the Ukraine is X amount and the ticket prices are a third of that.
Yeah.
So, I just wonder what Paul was thinking, because Kiss gets paid. They don't care or shouldn't care ultimately, as long as the overall audience is a good number and they're not, able to throw picks out over the audience so that they land behind them. They hate when that happens, or, they have to order pizza for the crowd. But standing there, what was it, 2011 or 12 or something like that? There was the Rock and Rally in Sacramento. And
Yes.
for the peons who had tickets, we were all behind a fence. And
Yep.
in front were white cloth table service for the high rollers. And I wonder what the band feels when they actually look out over that sort of setup. Do they go, well, we got paid? Or do they go, fuck, what a dead audience? I mean, it's like a bunch of rich people up front who just sit there because they could be rich people up front who've been given tickets. But going back to Kiev, it must have been kind of tough with such an empty group, because way back, 100 feet back, was then the fence and then all the peasants. And then it looked packed. I mean, it looked like there's a good 25,000 in that stadium, which was massive. Daniel, I mean, what's your take on those sorts of layouts? Do they work? Are they good idea, bad idea, or do you not care because you weren't there?
Well, I'm actually going to see them in like 6-7 days, I think, in Norway. So I'm looking forward to that. So I haven't really been paying attention to their tour of Europe because I want to go in fresh. So I haven't seen much. I've tried to stay away as much as possible from watching this tour, because I want to go in fresh. But when it comes to live concerts, it's been getting worse and worse the last couple of decades, I think, for many reasons. First of all, you have the phones. Secondly, you have lame audiences. They don't rock that as they did way back. I remember watching Kiss on the reunion tour, and it was like pandemonium. It was crazy. And then even when I watched them playing Sonic Boom over Europe, it was crazy as well. But these last few tours, I don't know if the Kiss fans have gotten old or something, but it's not the same thing really. So I think there are some problems with live concerts in general these days. It's not really the same as it was back in the day.
Ken,
I concur.
you're not Ken.
As for the, well, first of all, the concert where it shows the picture, it makes it look empty. The promoter or whoever designed that, if they knew those people weren't going to buy those more expensive tickets for up front, they should have moved that fence closer to tighten it up so it doesn't look like a bunch of open space in there. So they could have adjusted it based on what the ticket sales were, and made it look more crammed, like there was a lot of people there, which there were.
Or just do a late release of discounted tickets, because just like Ticketmaster in the States, volume pricing, it's all flexible, it changes.
Exactly.
Then again, messing with Ukrainians might not be such a good idea. I just paid 200 rubles for this, and you got for 75. I killed you.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree. They can do that. But the other thing about the excitement of people seeing Kiss, I think a lot of it is just that, you have they're not Kiss fans. They're just trying to, these general audiences that just want to catch Kiss on their last tour out or the last few tours. Plus, the demographic is getting older too, so some of these people don't have that same youthful excitement as they did when they were, younger. Assuming that they went and saw Kiss when they were younger and saw them at the reunion and we're all, this is awesome, and they were all hyped. But they see them now, maybe they're not as enthusiastic. But a lot of it's just fair weather type fans right now at this point.
Yeah, you're not going to get 70,000 people spending Kiss fan money for a ticket, ever.
Yeah,
so, yeah. Some of the other threads that are in here as well, Gene nearly fell over in Krakow, which...
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I'm just going to make a blanket statement about a lot of the threads that are going on here. There's just people that are purposely putting clickbait-like titles, and everyone is just picking little events and trying to make this massive happening of sometimes a minuscule thing. Or maybe it's just, oh, well, it looked like that from the video. It looked like that from here, and look at that. Just... listen, Kiss is doing great. People are enjoying the band, so let's just enjoy this one last time. Come on. I mean, people are just bitching about every little thing. Just let's enjoy this one last time. Let's talk about the Kiss movie or the Neil Bogart movie.
That was going to be one of the next things. Some people were making a big deal out of Helsinki. Oh, I mean Havinka or whatever it is. I have no idea how to pronounce that, so apologies, Finnish people, if I just butchered that. Because for most people, it's not going to matter. Hello, Helsinki is the intro versus something which may not be familiar to someone on how to pronounce. They at least got it on the T-shirts, so that was at least good. But I think people do try and make a big thing out of nothing. I was actually more concerned to see Gene stumble because, well, I'm going to go there. At his age,
Ooh, yeah. If he falls, he ain't getting up.
Yeah, no, and it could injure him or any of the band members as well. True. So it is concerning. I'm not gonna, send Gene a life alert. Help! I've fallen and I can't get up. But
you know what I say? You know what I say every day?
Kiss alert.
Every day of my life, people are like, "Oh man, follow me on Snapchat." I'm like, "Listen, I'm too old for Snapchat, but I'm still too young for life alert. So I don't have any idea what I'm doing in my life right now."
Yeah, I'm too old for Instagram. I can't figure that out. But let's talk about the Neil Bogart biopic, because that's the rage that's on now. Motley Crue's The Dirt has been very popular. The Freddie Mercury movie, Bohemian Rhapsody, was absolutely outstanding, and the Elton John one's getting savaged for being too safe and saccharine and not being as interesting as Freddie Mercury. But it seems to be the season that these sorts of stories are resonating with people. What are your? I mean, go Andrew, talk.
This isn't an insult about Bill Aucoin, Neil Bogart, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, or anyone. This isn't. But I don't think that a Bill Aucoin story is going to be in theaters the same way a Freddie Mercury or Elton John story was. I think we're going to see another Netflix movie, which is fine by me. I mean, Netflix has done great things for TV shows and movies, so I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely stream it when it comes out. But I don't think that this is going to be a Kiss movie like people are saying. And there are people who are saying, "Oh, well, I've worked on this movie." Shut up. No, you haven't. I think this is going to be a movie about Bill Aucoin's rise from a TV producer.
Don't you mean Neil Bogart?
Neil Bogart.
So it's a Neil.
It's a Neil Bogart story.
Okay. So my apologies.
The one that's been in development for years called Spinning Gold.
Spinning Gold. Okay,
which is by his son, one of his sons, who owns the intellectual property behind it.
So here's the thing: there's gonna be a very, very small thing about Kiss. I know Neil Bogart was instrumental in bringing Kiss to the masses, but Kiss is going to be a footnote in this story. It's going to be Neil's childhood, Neil's rise to fame, and then his ultimate fall. Is Kiss going to be in that? Absolutely, but this is not a Kiss movie. And for people to say that they've worked on this or they've done this or whatever, it's not a Kiss movie. It's just not. There's going to be so much more about this movie that isn't about Kiss, and as it should be. I'm not sliding the movie by any means, because I do think that it is going to be, it has the potential to be great, but I think it's going to be a Netflix movie. I really do.
I hope not. They just canceled my Netflix.
Oh no. Wasn't Samuel L. Jackson going to play a part in that one, I think?
Yeah, I mean,
so
who's he going to be? Cecil Holmes, motherfucker,
He's going to be the leader of, is he going to be the leader of Parliament?
Oh, it's racist.
Oh, man.
Something like that.
I think it could be kind of a cool movie if they focused on the the 70s era a bit, and a lot of interesting acts passed through Casablanca, and Neil Bogart certainly was a character with mob ties and everything, and you could also have Bill Aucoin being there, and if you want to, you could tell some really nasty stories about him as well. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things happening at Casablanca that can make kind of a cool movie, and there will also be a lot of cool music, of course.
That's what I was going to say. The soundtrack for this thing is going to be a motherfucker, because think of Donna Summer, think of Kiss as well, think of Lips Inc., think of Parliament, Funkadelic. God, I mean, Captain and Tennille.
Because I think that was the biggest thing with the Queen film, the Queen movie, that they managed to do the music so well, and it
has to be about the music.
Listen, I just
Yeah,
want
the drugs.
I
and the
just
crazy-
want one scene. I want one scene where Casablanca is firing on all cylinders, and Captain and Tennille like, listen, Captain and Tennille, they're so popular right now. We got to release action figures about Captain. Let's do it. And then I want them to look at the warehouse and going, man, you got 30,000 captains left. What can we do with them? I know. Put Paul Stanley makeup on him. Make him kiss Mego dolls. I want to see that scene. That's what I want to see.
I think you're more likely going to see the scenes with the silver tray coming in, Mr. Bogart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you
probably.
go. But, I mean, Neil Bogart, I mean, I did start writing a lot on him way back. I was doing the Focus. I mean, I went off on a whole tangent, and I got lost in his career. I mean, Cashbox, all the stuff he did in the early 60s.
All the payola.
The softcore porn that he did in '64, the singles he cut. There's still one I need to find. I mean, his father. There's going to be a lot of Al Bogarts in this movie, and it needs to be as a biopic about Neil Bogart. That's his family, and he started off in the projects in New York City. Grew up with people like Susan. What's her name? Collins, who was on Ace's solo album, knew her. His family connections.
Joyce Biowitz.
Joyce, of course, he was on the flip. He was on an episode of Flipside as
Flipside,
well,
directed by Bill Aucoin
in 1973. So he. What was he? He was, I think, a co-producer or producer. I think he nicked the music basically from another label for Question Mark and the Mysterians, 96 Tears. And then, of course, you got the Lemon Pipers and all that bubblegum music. So in terms of music and content, there is so much that they can cover. And that was what hooked you with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
The songs. Now, when's the last time people heard the Lemon Pipers, and that was brought back to the forefront again, or any of the stuff in the early 70s that he was a part of on Buddha, and his own music. I mean, he's got some good songs. Ghost of a Chance, I think it was really good, and Bobby was a minor hit. So who knows what they could drag out, but all that 70s music that was big, was massive, the Casablanca catalog, and then you get into Boardwalk Entertainment, and who were some of those early releases? Joan freaking Jett. Wow. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Why aren't you working on this film, Julian? Why aren't you working on this
I'm
film?
just hoping this is better than that book that came out. That was a good effort, the book.
And Party Every Day?
No. The other one, Spinning Gold, Neil Bogart.
There's an actual Spinning Gold book?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
there is.
that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and it was by one of the children or relatives, and it was a good effort. But
Let me find it.
From someone who does actually know something about Neil, and all Kiss fans do know a fair amount about him from that perspective, and getting sued, of course, by Donna Summer is kind of a big story. That kind of.
Yeah, I think people are looking for to see a lot of Kiss in this movie. You're not going to see a lot. It's just going to be they're going to be like a footnote in general.
I agree with you.
If they were going to do a Kiss movie or try to have more Kiss in it, they should follow the other book, Kiss and Sell. I'd love to see that one put into a book, not book, but into a movie, based it on, the financial guy coming in, and comes in at around the time of, what was it? He came in around Destroyer.
Yes, his first show that because I'm just rereading it again. The first show that he actually attended was the big Roosevelt Stadium show because they thought that it was going to be a bust. Then they put discount tickets on sale. So that was the first time that he actually met the band, was in Roosevelt Stadium.
Yeah, so I think that would make a great movie. It would, definitely feature a lot more Kiss, but it would be very interesting. I mean, there's so many great stories in that book. It's one of the best Kiss books out there that you can read.
I'm having a hard time finding this book, Spinning Gold.
Well, Daniel, what are your thoughts on Neil Bogart story? Are there any things that interest you in there and that you'd want to see particularly? Because I think they've cast Gene and Paul, and no word about Ace and Peter, which just sums it up for me.
That tells you something.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that they manage to bring it like the Queen movie, that you feel the music. I mean, when I was watching the Queen movie at the cinema, I felt like I almost stood up and started applauding between the songs because it felt like you were there live. It was so awesome. The Mötley Crüe movie, not so much, but it was.
Oh, I love The Dirt.
Yeah, I love it for it. It's a great time capsule of the 80s. Like, I like it for that, but I didn't get that wow feeling that I got from the Queen film.
Going
The Queen
Platinum.
movie.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's not
Going
spin. That's why I'm looking for the
Where
wrong
you gotta
name.
find
That's
it.
why I can't find it.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they can get the 70s vibe going in that movie. That's what I'm looking for, with all the cocaine and all the music and all the craziness.
Disco.
I like disco.
Me too.
That's gonna be what he did. I mean, that's what his niche was in the 70s. And don't forget, he died at 39 as well, which just leaves a lot of things. But I think is a very positive thing that could come out of this is it's a good way to field test. Would a Kiss biopic be receptive? Does it make people clamor for, well, why isn't there one about Kiss? Because you can tease and taste enough of it in there. Same with Donna Summer and some of the other Parliament. I mean, is criminally neglected.
Well, didn't we talk about this, a Kiss biopic, on a previous episode where
we have numerous times, but now that we're to the point where we're going to get a taste of Kiss in a biopic, I think it's a good opportunity for Kiss to, if they're going to have any input into how they're presented in this movie, and Gene and Paul will want to make sure that they're presented in line with their vision and version of history.
But I think if they're going to tell a Kiss biopic, I think it needs to be told from Ace's perspective. I really do.
Yeah, I like that one as well.
Because imagine Ace waking up and he's all disoriented. He can't find anything, so he just puts on a red and an orange sneaker, and mom is driving to the rehearsal, and he's
such a character.
Yeah, he's so nervous that he starts playing when he's not supposed to play. But like just make all the things that we've heard about like complete accidents. Like Ace didn't plan this. He's like, oh, yes, I'm sorry. It's like everything that we know him for is just an accident.
Make him sound like Mr. Bean goes to a guitar audition.
Yes.
Yeah. But if you want to have a good Kiss movie, Paul and Gene's influence on that movie has to be minimal, because otherwise
it's not going to get made.
It won't be so. No, and that's why we won't get it.
Yeah, but couldn't you tell a Kiss-tory like movie and still have it be good? Because I don't think Kiss-tory is bad.
But Gene and Paul, I don't think they are the guys to make something good out of this. You need outside influence, and they won't allow it. So
I think now I find out as they're getting older, is at the end of their career, that they're going to become much.
They're at the end of what? They're at the end of what?
At the end of their road, the end of their career.
End of the road. Cha-ching.
Yeah.
Here's $1.
Have they trademarked that yet? Oh, yes, they have.
Oh, yes.
Got to send them another quarter. But I think they're going to become very much more possessive of their version of the story, more so than we've seen develop over, the past 20 years since the end of the original reunion, that I don't think any sort of objectivity can be brought into any Kiss biopic or how they're presented. So I think those of us who do go and see a story of Neil Bogart, and I don't think a lot of Kiss fans are going to be kind of into seeing it unless there's a substantial amount of Kiss, and I think they will be disappointed, as we mentioned, that it's not going to focus on Kiss the way that they think it should be. So think of a few scenes that you'd like to see in some Kiss related scenes that you'd like to see in a Neil Bogart movie. I mean, just narrow it down to those parameters. What are the sort of key things that you think have to be there? Well, one thing that I thought has to be in there is Peter Criss pre-Kiss going in there with his bongos and playing. And some of it is made up. The story with Mike Reno and Peter and Stan disagreed on their reminiscences about going in and auditioning for Neil at Buddha, even though Buddha paid for demo sessions. But, Peter's adamant that he went in with his bongo and they flipped out because here are these two scruffy guys, one with a bongo, who sit down. They didn't play back, but they did play all of that happy, crappy music that Peter's band was doing at the time. So I think that's one scene that's got to be in there, because Peter then comes back into the story later as Kiss, who were Casablanca's bread and butter. Ken, I mean, what's some of the sort of key scenes you want to see?
Well, definitely how how he found Kiss, which was through, I think, the demo tape that was it Richie Kenny Kerner or Richie Wyatt, one of those guys.
Kenny Kerner
had heard it, and like he took it to Neil Bogart and said, "Hey, this one, is pretty good. Listen to it, check it out." And Neil Bogart liked it just listening to it. He hadn't even seen them. So that's definitely something that they need to put in there. And then maybe, of course, Bill Aucoin going there to that first audition, or the audition, but the club performance, seeing Kiss in their, first time seeing them there in the club and checking them out there, and then going back and say, hey, I think you guys are pretty good, and I'll, if I can't sign you in whatever he said, a week or something like that, 2 weeks, okay, then forget about it. But yeah, that something like that definitely got to show how he pulled these acts in, like Kiss and Donna Summer, that really started out the Casablanca years.
I think that you need to have. There's a couple scenes you need to have. It's the first one of them at the first album photo session where Neil is just listening and goes, I love them, but what's up with this? And take the makeup off, and they won't.
Makeup.
And then
Right.
you fast forward to the Casablanca release party out in Sunset. You go to that. Then you skip quite a bit to them receiving the gold records to Kiss Alive. And Neil saying, you know what, I believed in you guys. Like, when no one else did, I believed in you guys. But that wasn't the truth about that. So I think there's going to be very, very minimal Kiss. Very minimal Kiss.
Yeah.
I agree. I think they should. One thing you would like to see is, if it's possible, maybe a live scene with Kiss. So I'm going for, the struggle with the first three albums, commenting on that, and then seeing them succeed with Alive and the whole celebration around that. So, and maybe you could see a clip of them performing. That would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, if any of us put on our director's hat, and only one of us has an official director's hat, Andrew, there's a whole bunch of stuff that kind of needs to be in there. I like the idea of when the band were considering leaving Casablanca, but Neil's sleeping with Joyce, Kiss's co-manager. So that's an interesting dynamic to add in, that she knows what's going on with the band meetings and fires the house producers, Kenny Kerner and Richie Wise, and Neil ends up producing the band. I also like the idea of slipping Eric Carr into this, because Eric did, of course, record an album, Lightning Disco Symphony, for Casablanca in 1979, and it's a good kind of illustration of how Neil was just releasing anything in order to have product out there in hopes that something would stick. That was the shotgun approach that he often took with bands. If you look at the whole of the Casablanca catalog, there's a lot of dross in there that was never going to fly, but was also worth a shot. So it would be a nice way to generically have, just sign them and release them, and have them show them recording some generic disco band, and have Disco Symphony kind of playing. That's the track they're recording, and only Kiss geeks would get that connection. It would just be backing music. I mean, there's so many like kind of Easter eggs that could be thrown in there. 77 selling out to Phonogram or Polygram, whichever, and kind of the business machinations that went along with funding. This is a guy who went to Vegas to gamble in order to make payroll. And he got away with it.
Julian, you mentioned, Captain Neil. That wasn't their original label. I think they were on I can't remember the label they were on, but they moved. They were picked up, I think, onto Casablanca late in the 70s. And also, it's interesting. You mentioned these other, artists he's just trying to put out music. Well, he also picked up, Player. Player was on another label. The Baby Come Back, that song. They were with another label. Casablanca picked them up. They picked up Nick Gilder, who was on Chrysalis Records. He did Hot Child in the City and so on. And so these artists that kind of fell off these other labels, he was willing to go give them a shot and bring them onto their Casablanca label and try them out and hopefully try to get a hit.
About Captain and Tennille, they were on A&M Records until 1978. And they weren't signed to Casablanca until 1979, which was their Make Your Move record, which was the last record of theirs to go gold in their entire history.
Yeah.
With Do That To Me One More Time. I mean, come on. That's like pretty well-known mom music from the early 80s. Yeah. I know when my mom was listening to Anne Murray and Crystal Gale, that song would turn up on the radio. So,
but again, they were dropped from Casablanca in 81 because their Scrapbook LP in 81 was on Spectrum Records.
Yeah, but who else was signed in 78? Cher. Take Me Home. And then, of course, she did, she was with Gene. And then she did, too, something, Take These Chains or something like that. And then she did Black Rose with...
Black Rose.
Yeah. As a band project. I can't remember the guy who it was, Dudek or something. I mean, come on. There are so many things that if they were going to put half the things that we kind of just brainstormed rough in there, it would be a 5-hour movie. It needs to be a mini series. And
we'll be lucky. We'll be lucky if we get 1 or 2 kiss scenes. We'll be lucky.
Exactly. And the one live scene that they're going to do is going to be Rock and Roll Night. Watch.
Yep.
That's going to be it.
Yeah, because what else does it need to be when they're trying to tell a story to a wider audience? Because this isn't going to be like Detroit Rock City, they did Detroit Rock City in that one, obviously. But, clearly, thank you. So they need to have general stuff about Kiss. So it's going to be nothing that I guess interests us. It's not being made for us. However, I think as smart producers, they're going to want to get as many of us to go and see this damn thing, whether it's on Netflix, whether it's straight to video, or whether it does actually get a cinematographic.
Straight to VHS, Betamax.
Straight to beta. Straight to reel.
Laserdisc.
NBC movie of the week. Halloween. All right.
All right. So that's a pretty good deep, well, not even a deep dive into one because we didn't do any homework for it to actually come up with a.
I did homework. Very
good. But just a quick question for Andrew. I know you're focused on Midnight now, but I've heard something about your next project being the late to early 90s. Is that correct? And
that is 100%.
Can you tell us anything on that?
That's 100% correct. So I've been gathering footage of the 1990 time period because there's that great Exposed to outtake footage. There's like 3 DVDs of that. So that's going to be my next thing to do. So, I'm going to marry that with some live footage and, make the Exposed 2 that should have come out in 1991.
Oh, do you mean the one with Lou Reed doing A World Without Heroes? Do you remember that Exposed to packaging sheet that turned up in some of the fanzines that did suggest that there was going to be all sorts of stuff like that, dating from the Elder period? I like the idea of you using that footage. And, after you did the stream of Kiss at Midnight. Sorry.
What was that? Say that again.
Just had to knock you down. I got live on it. It's like you should do a live stream of that Fort Wayne, or part of it, because a lot of people didn't get to see that, and that's just really good. And your work just seems to grow from.
Listen, I huge thanks goes out to you for even giving me the opportunity to be able to do that. So that was something that was very, very cool for me. But I absolutely would do that. I mean, if you give me the green light, we can start promoting that thing, and we can do that because that was one of the most fun things I got to edit. Just to be able to take a concert that old and make it something different was cool, was very cool, because I watched a couple songs up, but I never sat down and examined it, the way I did. And it also led to other things that I've done. So, hey, you know what? If that's something you want to do, maybe we'll do it.
Maybe after Kiss at Midnight's had its day in the sun, and if you need some time to keep people off your back while you put your next product.
Listen, I really do, because I The Greatest Show on Earth is the Kiss movie. Kiss at Midnight is the Kiss TV special. Expo.2 is going to be the VHS release that never was. So I'm just kind of doing these things that Kiss never did. But, I thought of an idea today. And did any of you guys ever see Kiss Extreme Close-Up, the VH1 / pay-per-view version? Did anybody ever see that?
Pay-per-view version.
There's a version where Sebastian Bach.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
All right, so there's a version where Sebastian Bach is kind of telling you the interviews are still there. It's trimmed down quite a bit, but Sebastian Bach is kind of telling the story of it. So I think the girl who actually is on the picture of the Kiss at Midnight stuff, I think she's going to do she's either going to narrate it, or she's going to do something for Expo.2, but needs a different name. Expo.2 is not a good name, so needs a different name. And that's the next project. So I would probably, if we're guesstimating on that, probably like February 2020 will probably be when that comes out, around there.
Good. So there'll be plenty of time in between.
Yeah.
That's very cool. All right, so lead us out, Andrew. Just give everyone a final reminder of when they can catch Kiss at Midnight and where.
Well, before you even want to talk about Kiss at Midnight, make sure you log on to KissFAQ.com, register, join the conversation. Just be nice to everybody. This is Kiss's last go-around, so let's all enjoy being Kiss fans together. So log on to KissFAQ.com, register on the message board, which is one of the only Kiss message boards still in existence today, and rightfully so. So make sure you come in and join the fun. But, if that's not enough for you, make sure you check out my new Kiss fan film, Kiss at Midnight, which will be streaming on YouTube and Vimeo June 28th. Why June 28th? Because it is the anniversary for Kiss's Tiger Stadium concert, where they got back together in 1996 on the reunion tour. So I wanted to do something that was paying tribute to Kiss and paying tribute to Kiss's history. So check it out, and hopefully you enjoy it. And if you don't, sue me.
Yeah, well, at least they can't ask for a refund. So,
right. Well, I do want to say this. This is an unofficial fan film, and I do list in the credits all the officially released sources that I used to put this thing together. But please, support Kiss. If you love this film, go out and buy another copy of Kiss Alive. Go out and buy some of the officially released footage that I used to put this together. We could really send a message to the band by doing it this way, that we really want to see stuff like this. So, go out and support the band, buy a t-shirt, buy a concert ticket, and enjoy this fan film.
Okay. Tell us about your podcast and where people can find you.
People could find me at Kiss My Collectibles, kissmycollectibles.com with a K. And if you want to get some cool swag like I'm wearing today, log on to clicktshop.com to purchase all your Kiss My Collectibles swag and Greatest Show on Earth swag.
Very cool. That's an advert-filled episode. Daniel, thank you for staying up late to join us.
Problem.
Oh, GeneSubmisVault.com. You said the Gene word. They're still selling vaults, actually. So got a lot of people on this latest European leg who are actually doing it. So that's very cool. Ken, thank you as well, as always. And to you, the viewers and listeners, thank you for watching and listening to us. And we will see you next time. Take care. Bye for now. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.